Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the EUMANS weekly meeting. As per today, we are ready to tell that a few of us already booked the flights to Warsaw, which is the most important information because the Congress is really happening since at least the coordinator and the president are gonna be in Warsaw and the administrator. So we have 3 people. Plus, I know that Miriam and Angela already booked their flights. So we have the first 5 registered participants to the Congress. And so as you have seen, the convocation email of tonight started very late. So what we will do tonight is to review the plan for the next weeks. A bit of a update on the logistics and the launch of the Congress. We can also look at the web page that me and Roberto finalized this afternoon. And we can start to have a brief chat on the document that you have seen because you are in this meeting with the political objectives. Having said that, the idea is to have in the next 2 weeks one meeting on specifically the political objective of the Congress, and next week, and the week after that, a meeting on the statute and the structure of the movement. So tonight we'll keep it more generic, but let me share in the chat the link that we will launch tomorrow with the Congress. It doesn't have yet the official visual, but you can have a look. So first of all, and then we'll give the floor to Marco to
yes.
us a bit. But I want to officialize the title of the Congress is EUMANS in Warsaw, the Open Congress of Citizens for Freedom, Democracy and Sustainability. The list of political objectives is apparently a list, but it's held together by the Congress in itself. So maybe I leave the floor to Marco to describe the rationale behind the decisions that we have made, and then we can have a brief exchange on the topics for tonight.
Yes. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you to all. And as Virginia said, we are getting in a very operational phase of our work. We have booked our flight, it's true, but don't let us alone in Warsaw. Okay, because this is I think a very important occasion, and politically speaking, and for our organization. The idea of the title is coming from the need of differentiating the Congress from a conference on democracy or a conference on the rule of law. Of course, there are high-level conferences, even much higher than ours, on these kind of issues. But our peculiarity is the idea of discussing those angles, those issues under the angle of a civic movement of popular initiatives, a pan-European movement of citizens. And so we decided to put in the title the 2 most original features of our Congress, which are our names and the fact of holding it in Warsaw. The subtitle is, in a way, a second title, EUMANS in Warsaw, to what is and to do what, and then the Open Congress of Citizens for Freedom, Democracy and Sustainability. I think that this kind of title is a difficult one, is also obliging us to combine the initiative to hold the Congress to the campaign to present EUMANS, what it is and what are their nature and goals. So I don't have much to add. I think that we cannot wait until the Congress to start discussing the initiatives that could be as an outcome of the Congress itself. We have already to start, in a way, the discussion. We have to start the Congress with these meetings that we are holding now before the physical event. So, as Virginia said, next week we can concentrate us on, but we can start discuss now, of course, about the possible outcome, what the initiative could be on the rule of law and democracy, on civil rights, on sustainability and global carbon pricing. So on the European citizens' assemblies. So what can be the outcomes? And of course, we will discuss this in Warsaw, but we have to arrive there prepared, knowing very well what we could be ready to be engaged to do. And then the next week also to have a meeting on our rules, because putting the organization itself at the center of the political debate need, as a consequence, to discuss our rules, how a pan-European movement should be organized. Of course, we are still hoping and asking the creation of European association, because this is still a limit of European legislation. There is not such a thing as a European association. You have to choose either to be Italian, either to be Polish, either to be Belgian, and this, I think, is a huge limitation, maybe, on what can be formally done as a pan-European movement. So we have to also face to this problem and starting to discuss. We have already some ideas. We discussed it together with Roberto Mancuso and Lorenzo Mineo and Professor Stefano Soggiu on the possibility of creating a European Citizen Assembly through EUMANS, but I don't want to enter into details, but we can present this project when we will dedicate a meeting expressly to the statute. So thank you very much, Virginia, and let's start to book our flight and our hotels. Thanks.
Thank you, Marco. So in the page of the Congress that is not yet public, it needs a bit of work still for the visuals and for other things, but you can already find some recommendations for the hotels, the flights. There are two low-cost companies that fly to Warsaw. One is Ryanair and the other one is Wizz Air. And then there are a few direct flights for the main cities. As for the political objectives, I launched today a thread on EUMANS Agora with some sort of a proposal of the key areas where we had ongoing discussions, where we had people that had been involved in, and where we have a bit of elaboration. For other things we don't have yet. And another important information is, if my COVID test is negative tomorrow, I'm gonna fly to Warsaw on Sunday, and I'm gonna be there for the entire next week for meetings, for engaging with local activists, and to find...
basta!
Giuseppe Greco, first of all, brief, and secondly, switch off your microphone, please. So yes, so we are going to be in Warsaw next week, and this is very important also because for the people, we have a lot of contacts, but it's important to show that we are doing this for real. Okay, so let's keep the conversation like open as introduced by myself and Marco, and let's have a round of comments on the communication strategy, what you see on the website, if it makes sense or if it doesn't, on the political objectives. If some of you had already had the chance to look at that, it might be a good way to start. And the floor is yours. One hand from Lorenzo.
Yes, thank you, Virginia. I would like to start from a specific area that will be at the center of our Congress, Citizen Assembly, and the request of the Conference of the Citizen Panel on Democracy of the Conference on the Future of Europe regarding the reform of European democracy. A session on this will be held on Saturday, the 12th of March. And together with Virginia and others, we are working to build this European network of civil society and also common citizens pushing for having a feedback from the European institution regarding the recommendation of this panel. In particular, we decided to focus on 3 major issues emerged from the panel on the conference on democracy of the conference, because it would have been, you know, too much to push for the entire resolution, the entire recommendation. So I think it could be very much more useful to find a specific angle. And in this case, we are focusing on the strengthening of participatory democracy instruments first. One of the requests of citizens was actually to establish a European referendum. We always said that we want something more than simple European citizens initiative that are not binding for European institution. So one of the idea of the citizen panel is to establish a European referendum. This would mean to change European treaties. And so this, I think, should be one of the proposals, citizens' proposals that EUMANS should take into consideration and push for this reform at European level. Another thing is the removal of the current rule of unanimity among the European Council. This rule, of course, it would mean removing this rule would mean to move in a federalist direction, removing the veto power that nowadays national states has in the framework of the council. So I think it's very powerful, the fact that this decision was coming from common citizens is something that national institution within national governments within the council could have never proposed, and neither the parliament or others until now they did something like that. So this is number 2, and number 3 is the request for a permanent and binding citizen assembly, so a step forward compared to the consultative conference on the future of Europe that is still proceeding in these days. All these 3 issues, we are not inventing these issues, as I said, but this is already what citizens, European citizens, are proposing. So if we put these 3 issues at the center of our session, of the debate, what are we trying to do is to build a connection between both some of the citizens that I hope they will respond. We're trying to invite them in Warsaw, citizens that were part of the panel that we met in Florence. Me personally and Samuele Nannoni, we were in Florence to see the session work of the panel, and also other organization of the city society that are standing for these objective. So I think if we take these three more relevant aspects emerging from the recommendation, and we can build a political initiative in this direction. So this is just something that you know, it's a new and more concrete initiative that we add to the proposal that we already have on the table on cannabis and on European living will. I think that in this Congress we are already defining a very specific agenda of proposals. And so if you have any other contribution, I really have to thank Virginia for the work she's doing in putting this proposal very clearly and at the heart of our next Congress.
Thank you, Lorenzo. In particular, on the veto of the European Council or the unanimity, we had been invited today to a workshop organized by Alliance for Europe for a campaign on that. And Ines, who some of you met, she attended our meeting recently, she attended the workshop on behalf of you. We will also produce on EUMANS Agora a report on that campaign. And I think as we approach the Congress, is important to, as we try to find participants, to understand which campaigns are ongoing, so that these people can be invited to our Congress. We don't reinvent the wheel on initiatives. So thanks, Lorenzo, for the overview on the political rights area and the humans and participatory democracy. Of course, the veto power is also the kind of the proof that national politics holds hostage the European Union, and it's always used, particularly within the rule of law context, particularly from the country that we are going to be. So it's quite important. Andrea Salimbeni.
Yeah, just 2 points about the sustainability topic, which is quite a sentence in the Agora chat, but actually I'm sorry I didn't participate too much in Agora chat in the last days, so I can integrate. Just to say that we will talk about COP27 instead of COP26, as it has been already done in Glasgow, but if we think that we can do something or discuss about sustainability aspects and initiatives, because I would like to focus this conference mostly on our potential partnerships in Europe, because our position is clear, as every other position about environment can be supported by other organizations. What is our novelty is the involvement of citizens and the approach, which is using different instruments in terms of policy participation. I would like, and it came to my mind in the last days, otherwise I would start before. In the last event we did about carbon pricing, we had the European Environmental Bureau, with which we discussed also membership, if you remember, and participation. I went on their website and I saw they have about 7 Polish members, association and ecologists. I would like to send them an email, mainly to Barbara, and who is the policy officer of European Environmental Bureau, asking if they can put us in contact or to inform them about a panel on sustainability if we want to do it. So I don't know if we have the slot to talk about sustainability topic, or anyway, not just presenting something, but just discussing about the initiatives and the actions. Can we ask to European Environmental Bureau to put us in contact with their members in Poland, because we are organizing a congress and we would like to talk about sustainability with them? Or do we have a slot for that? Or it is hard to do it and we prefer to stay?
It depends, Andrea. Sorry if I interrupt you. It depends. If there are interventions within the Congress, understanding that they are talking in the context of a political Congress, yes. An intervention like in a conference about environment and sustainability, it would not be the right.
Marco, I know what
so
humans is talking about, so I know what to ask. Yeah,
that's the point. Before deciding to give a slot or not, it is needed to take contact with them, to talk with them, to understand if their goals can coincide with our goals. So it's not really a problem of having a slot. Potentially, yes, but it depends in which kind of contribution we can trigger. So the answer is yes, it's definitely worth contacting them, but then we will decide according to their to the kind of their reply if the right occasion is the Congress, or for example a panel before the Congress, like a webinar before the Congress to talk more in theory of the issue. So the first thing is to get in contact with them and then to decide about the agenda.
Yeah, but before getting in contact, I need to know if we can have. Otherwise, we cannot start. If we can have, I can contact.
Andrea, if you look at the program, in theory, we have 1 hour, 15 minutes on the afternoon of the Saturday that I gave a broad title. So it's a bit our approach, sustainability combined with social, etc. So I think you are the facilitator for that. So this is also the thing, like that hour can be used for this purpose. And it's a bit what, but I think what Marco is saying is the approach to that session.
No, I know that EUMANS is not a scientific association. It's not, it's worth to remind, but I know. So European Environmental Bureau is like Legambiente. So they are not just representing any scientific community, but it's okay. It was a question and I know I can contact them, or otherwise I give you the contact to write with a EUMANS email. It's okay.
No, I think it's exploring with them. I mean, I think the effort is exploring with them on how we could have a joint strategy that is connected with our political goals. I think it's about that, like that, how to present them the opportunities. Like if you want to come, it's about developing a strategy that for us mainly is the global carbon price. I mean, the push for the global carbon, I think.
Yeah. Partnerships are crucial for us to carry on issues on sustainability, because we have not the power of focusing and carrying on ourselves. And this is my point of view. So I think it is crucial to have contacts that are already doing that, and that maybe are missing the a real direction about participation of citizens, and that could be the linking point with them. This is my position about environment, because I saw in the last months that we cannot carry on so much on ourselves. So that is my proposal, and we could start from here to us cooperating with the local associations and discussing about their point and see how we can support them.
Okay.
Klaus, you sent me the email, so do you want to tell us something?
Yes, yes, thank you very much. We have sent you a short message after we have read the preliminary program for Warsaw, and we was asking if it is perhaps possible on Saturday to get 5 minutes where Ronald Blaschke from our ECI team for unconditional basic income could speak about our citizen initiative, because we see some relationship for this title with freedom and so on. If you have an unconditional basic income, it would also help for all these other matters to go on. So we know that is certainly only another matter, but nevertheless, at least 5 minutes would be nice.
So if on this is a bit like Marco said to Andrea, I think if Ronald wants to participate in the Congress, it can be very helpful. I think it can be also helpful to have his take in general on the like in the framework of the Congress. And I think the other thing, it would be important to maybe have participation from the committee of the European Citizen Initiative in Poland, like if you can invite them to join the Congress, because of course we are very focused on the unconditional basic income European citizen proposal in general through the European Citizen Initiative, but maybe other matters and other angles can be of interest for your group in Poland. So for sure it can participate. I think the session on sustainability is probably a good one, because there are also a lot of research on the impact of unconditional basic income and ecology. So the Congress is open. So the answer is yes, but ideally we would like to have a participation that is beyond the presentation of the specific initiative.
Okay, so if I have right understood, I could mention to Ronald Blaschke that he could perhaps get some minutes to propose this in relation with the discussions taking part in Warsaw. Yes.
Exactly, and also, of course, maybe it's an opportunity for inviting the people of the committee that are in Poland to be
exactly
there.
Yeah, Alek Derek, for example, is one of our people in Poland, which we have contact and so on, and we will mention it. All of them said Ron Blaschke gives some statements. It's okay?
I think so. Yes, yes, perfect.
Then thank you very much.
Thank you, Klaus. Andrea, I still see your hand, so I don't know if it's for a second intervention or if it's before. Okay.
Well, parlo un po' in italiano, anche così per fare...
I speak Italian a bit, so the interpreters can switch it up, and I thank the interpreters very much for helping us manage multiple languages. I would just like to say that about what Klaus said, I would like to remind you what we did thanks to Virginia, what we did last year. So there we had a day during which all those who launched European citizens initiatives joined together to ask for more information about ECIs. And this is one of the outcomes of the, well, this could be one of the outcomes of the Congress. So building onto that initiative to have more people rather than just Virginia who could take care of this. And this could be very important and useful because it would amount to institutional reform. So the European Union should focus more on shedding more light on participation tools. And this sort of initiative has already led to concrete results in the budget for the European Union. And we will need to learn more about how the European Union will act about that vote, that result. But what Klaus said about European citizens' initiatives on the unconditional basic income reminds me that either way, European citizens' initiatives by themselves as a tool need institutions to back them up, and the institutions need to share more knowledge about them. This is one of the points we could expand upon in Warsaw. My answer to Andrea was taking for granted that you had seen there was a time slot allowed to talk about sustainability. And just like Virginia, I also thought that within that time slot, you could be the one to decide how to create a debate and who to ask, what participants to ask, including the organizations that you mentioned. Thank you. Marco?
And have a survey. How many of you have already booked their tickets for Warsaw?
I don't want to do outing.
2, 3.
Yeah.
Virginia, Lorenzo, and Marco. We have to work on this.
No, and Miriam and Angela, that they're secretly.
Okay. Maria Pia Gialla. Already there.
Okay, okay. 6. Good. Roberto, I think your hand is for political purposes and not flights purposes, but I see a hand from Roberto Mancuso.
No, non è per il volo.
No, it's not because of the flight. Go ahead.
Sì, parlerò in italiano.
I'm going to be speaking Italian. I would also like to thank the interpreters. The interpreters thank Roberto. I would like to expand on what Marco said on European citizens' initiatives. And I would like to underline the biggest difference, this profound difference between certain institutional tools and others. I am not so sure that a European referendum could be such an effective tool to better guarantee the development, the democratic development of Europe and the development of freedoms. I thought that maybe the different types of referendums have a different weight because it could stand due to lack of knowledge in Italy and in Europe, it could stand to be manipulated or a populist instrument. What I think is more important is to really strengthen the European citizens' initiatives as a political instrument. We need the citizens to know what an ECI is and what it means, but we also need to make this tool stronger. So we shouldn't just confine it to making it, we should make it binding. I am not the biggest expert on European law, but I think maybe the Parliament could also be involved rather than just the Commission. It should be more binding. I think it would be much more useful to strengthen the ECIs rather than propositional referendums or binding citizens' initiatives, which I don't really like too much. Citizens' assemblies are revolutionary, and they really can change the relationship between citizens and rulers, if you will. But to make them binding for the institutions, for the lawmakers, I think that would be a bit too much. So I would rather take little steps, baby steps, about the European citizens' initiatives and to share more knowledge about them rather than to make them binding, to make these assemblies binding. I am not going to be in Warsaw. I will follow the Congress online. And I really appreciate the work that has been done so far. But over the course of next month, as we perfect the program, the agenda, we should think about involving more Italian-speaking members of Europe. And we should really start a real membership campaign for EUMANS, which we have not done so far. So communication is very important as well. I think we should, on the Italian side, I think we should do some directs, some online live meetings to share more knowledge about who EUMANS are and what they do, and more knowledge about the Congress in Warsaw. And this could all be done on social media. We should really be thinking about marketing and communication to spread the word about this pan-European movement and its Congress.
I see Lorenzo's hand. I just want to add for Lorenzo, but maybe he had it in mind, that, for example, Democracy International has an interesting proposal on adding a European Citizen Assembly to the process of the European Citizen Initiative. So maybe this, since we know them very well, maybe this could be an angle to explore, to try to add to the debate in Warsaw. But Lorenzo, the floor is yours.
Grazie Virginia, vado in italiano per rispondere.
Thank you, Virginia. I'm going to be speaking Italian just to be more specific, more precise, but I'm not going to go too deep into detail, because unlike other topics which we have debated on other weekly meetings, so for example, cannabis, which we debated on for 2 years before we drafted a proposal, and then for the European Living Will, this is a topic where the preliminary debate is lacking before we even start drafting proposals. WARSAW will be the place where we will talk about it. I was wrong in talking as though these topics were already discussed, but they are really a starting point. So we can talk about it in the Congress, or maybe in one of the meetings on Thursday, or again in Warsaw, where our goal is to hear from those who have participated firsthand and who can tell us how their work was, and to have a debate before we really write a proposal.
Next Thursday is the real one on the political objectives. Tonight was just a taste. Maybe if you can identify someone that can, I mean, I'm thinking about Daniela Vancic, but it can be whoever, that can come and present both the process flow, or the Conference on the Future of Europe flow, but also this maybe mix of instruments. Maybe it could be, maybe not a long presentation, but someone that can interact in that debate. Maybe that could be a good moment to start. And then, okay, I see Sibilla joined us, and when there is Sibilla, there is a sparkle. And if anyone else wants to add something, don't be shy, please. I also see Stefano that has been absent for a while, so welcome back. And Mina Welby, who is Mina? Let's see.
Beh, se facciamo così anche il congresso non serviranno le interpretazioni.
Well, if the Congress is going to be like this, we're not going to be needing interpreters. Everybody's so quiet. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. I mean, you're not forced to. We have presented our bare-bone draft of our agenda, and then we're going to be discussing those goals into more details, those outcomes in more details next Thursday. So we could wrap it up here, maybe.
Thursday, with me connected from Warsaw, so we start to penetrate the bubble. We have the meeting on the political objectives. Please, you have the document already on EUMANS Agora, so you can start to add, think, etc. And also maybe if you have in mind, I don't know if Andrea is still connected, but I will tell him in any case. If we have people that can, I mean, these meetings are not only a moment for us to discuss among the usual suspects, but are also an opportunity to start and make more people aware of what we are building towards Warsaw. So, for example, the meeting on the political objectives is a good meeting to invite someone that we know is engaged on the topics that more or less constitute our framework to take part and think with us. So let's use this meeting because it's an effort to organizing, holding, being constant. And so let's use them as a way to attract people that will become the wave that we want to bring in Warsaw. So next Thursday for the political objectives, and the week after for the statute and functioning of the movement. And for the first, we already have the thread on EUMANS Agora. For the second, there is something because Roberto launched something in Italian, but we are trying to put ahead of the event more of a structured document for thinking about that.
Virgi, ho perso tutto perché sono bollita. Non so se lo
I didn't catch any of that.
Dove trovo la registrazione di oggi?
I'm really exhausted. Where do I find today's recording? You find it on YouTube. And so I will study hard and be ready next week. Thank you, Sibilla.
For your participation, and I see Isabella and Deborah, they're going to be in Poland as well next week, so I don't know if we can meet in Poland, would be funny.
Ciao Virginia, purtroppo brutte notizie, lo dico in italiano.
Hi Virginia, bad news unfortunately. Deborah and I are together because we did a COVID test and both of us are positive. We should have been in Poland already, but unfortunately we lost everything, our money, all our bookings, everything. We hope we can get that money back, but there's no way of knowing. So we're here with no webcam on. We are in bed currently. So yes, we're in quarantine rather than traveling. Bad timing. So we're not going to be meeting next week. But you can find us anytime in the year, in the day. Our schedule is not full.
Yes, I just wanted to give some tips to everyone. We thought that usually I'm not a supporter of this idea, but I think that
travel insurance. Do travel insurance when you buy a ticket. I know that the price is attractive and sometimes it's convenient, but we spent money to do the test, but there's no way to the ticket is non-refundable. So if you can spend those extra 20 euros, I hope your test is negative, but if it isn't, then you can change your days and go to Warsaw some other day. So do it if you can.
We will catch up for the civil rights part and the rest of the things. I see a very interesting comment from Francesca Turano Campello. I don't know, Francesca, since you are here, if you want to explain what you have in mind, you are at the phone, so no. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry because Francesca is having a phone.
Francesca centrato.
Una telefonata.
Voi avete iniziato a prendere i biglietti per...
Did you already start booking the flights for Warsaw?
5 people with tickets. Cappato, Fiume, Mineo, Miriam Turini, Angela Capuano. So
ok. Allora
Andreoli e Zerosi anche.
Andreoli e Zerosi.
Allora ci scambiamo magari le informazioni su dove, come volate, come
Okay,
fate.
so we'll try to get information from you on which flights you booked. So I'll try to see if I can come as well.
Okay. So the Congress is Friday and Saturday, but on Thursday evening we will have an event at the Italian embassy in Italian for Italians with Marco, particularly on the referendum. So if you want to fly already on Thursday, we are going to be there on Thursday. And on the website, there is a list of hotels, companies, etc. But of course, if you are all in the same, I don't know, Sibilla, if you want to connect with Miriam and Angela to know which flight they are, since you're all flying from Rome, I mean, be independent as much as possible among you guys that are in the same place. But we will try to do as much as we can to help to have same hotel, same things. But I mean, we are all volunteer. I mean, we are all very volunteering. So let's do our best. And Maria Pia is helping with the logistics. So maybe Maria, when we meet in also can speak a bit about how to help the others, maybe. Together.
Sì, assolutamente, se avete bisogno di capire distanze, spostamenti.
Yes, definitely. If you need to understand the distances where the different places are, I'm always available. If you want, you can contact me.
I was reading your comment in the chat. Since we have 5 minutes till the end of the meeting, I don't know if you want to explain the idea that you shared with us.
Sì, mi ricordo che quando abbiamo fatto i web banchetti.
Yes, I remember that when we talked about the web stalls, I thought that aside from being interesting, I think they also contributed to having many people participating. And I think that also on that occasion, the web event had been supported by someone external, someone that was present. And I was thinking that perhaps, as Lorenzo already did, we could perhaps have some initiative, some event going on the streets, and then connect to the website, to the online event, and have the two events happening on the same day. You can have many events in different cities, like one in Palermo, one in Rome, one in Brussels, and having someone online coordinating all the platforms and that can communicate with those connecting. So to try and have more people connecting on the website as well.
Francesca, ti
Tempo
rispondo
per le autorizzazioni c'è, quindi diciamo da qui a...
So we have all the authorizations, so I think that we have time.
Su questo martedì alle 19 c'è una
Yes, on Tuesday at 7 p.m. there will be a meeting on the European Citizens Initiative on climate change, so we can talk about your idea, which I think is a great idea. We just need to coordinate in order to find a day and in order for it to be more effective.
Maybe in the interest of our efficiency, I don't know also Lorenzo, but if we work on the initiatives on the streets for the Cittadini per il Clima, but also this type of thing, and given that we also have the European goal and the Congress, maybe for the month of February, we can come up with something where Cittadini per il Clima has a more clear line of connection with the European Citizen Assembly and a call to action for being at the Congress, joining the Congress, following the Congress. I mean, maybe February can be the month where Cittadini per il Clima becomes Citizens for Climate somehow. I don't know, like, but we could come up with something special to draw the line and show that it's the same humans that it's doing the two things.
Okay. San Valentino per il clima.
San Valentino per il clima.
Scusatemi.
But we could have a Valentine's Day for the climate. I was just thinking in marketing terms.
Thank you very much, everyone. The next meeting is in Italian at 7 on Tuesday for Cittadini per il Clima specifically, and next Thursday at 6 for the Humans Congress specifically about the political objectives. So we will review the document. If anyone can make an effort and imagine who can be warm enough to join the meeting, even if it's not among us yet. And the week after is about the statute. And so that's it. If anyone is interested in the fundraising campaign, let me know, because tomorrow we have a meeting for that, dedicated to that. So if anyone wants to help specifically with the fundraising, let me know and I will invite you to the meeting that we have tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you, Virginia. At what time is it?
2:30.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Cool.
Grazie. Ciao.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Ciao ciao.